Welcome back inside the pregame presented by Twitch. Vince Sapiens here, coming to you from Raiders HQ, joined by, once again, as always, 8-year NFL vet, former Raiders running back, a man of many talents, Rashad Jennings. Rashad, we have a lot to get into in a short week, condensed schedule, looking ahead to Week 10 on the road against the Denver Broncos. But as we always do before we look ahead, we have to look back at the game that was. And while progress was clearly made, there was a lot of positives at Allegiant Stadium between the Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Silver and Black once again fall on the wrong side of the scoreboard in overtime, 30-29. A lot to take away from that game. What sticks out the most?
Sticks out the most is what the offense looks like when they have their full Arsenal team back there, especially Brock Bowers. I mean, 12 receptions, over 100 touchdowns, acrobatic catches, opening up the whole field. You saw Geno being a little bit more comfortable. I mean, he got the run game going a little bit. We didn't get to it as much as probably we'd like. But, man, the offensive side of the football looks very special when Brock is out there. He makes things happen.
Yeah, it almost feels like something clicked, right, with Geno, because you look at that opening series, 2 quick runs, 17 yards, 3 straight passes, no targets to Brock Bowers, and an immediate punt. Very next offensive possession, a run to Jeanty, pass to Brock Bowers, and all of a sudden he powers his way for a first down, and everybody kind of looks around like, oh, yeah, 89's back. Let's do a little bit more of that. When we talk about, this offense and everything that we thought they could be, would be, we saw it, right? The most points scored this season, Brock Bowers with his full superhero-type powers on display. It really elevates the offense, and it really looked like Geno was as comfortable as we've seen him since week 1.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we expected. Obviously, the NFL is tricky. You deal with injuries all the time. It's part of the game. In a perfect world, I believe Brock Bowers has been healthy the whole season, and we would have seen this type of display. Maybe not for a hat trick from Brock Bowers himself every single game. But, when you look at 13 targets to a tight end, that's what we want, being in Raiders uniform. That's the kind of player he is. Brock Bowers and I would say McBride are the 2 special tight ends this year, specifically where I think an offense has actually ran through their tight end. Mm-hmm. Other tight ends are really good and phenomenal, but I believe the Arizona Cardinals and the Las Vegas Raiders run through their tight end. So with him back, I think the sky's the limit. And I think everything falls into place, how the coaching staff saw it, how Geno Smith saw it, how everybody saw it through all training camp. And it gives some momentum to the staff. It gives some momentum to the team to say, hey, look, this is who we are. This is what we can be. Now let's clean up some things on the back end.
I want to ask you about Ashton Jeanty. I know we talk about him every week, but rightfully so, right? Like he is living up to that 6th overall billing. He's 11th in the NFL currently in carries among running backs. Yet he got 13 carries on Sunday, 18 total touches. Fans feel like it's not enough. They want even more. It was good early. It kind of tapered off late with the running game against Jacksonville. How do you see it? I know you're a running back and you're saying, hey, feed the beast that is Jeanty, but how do you see his usage? Do you think they're using him enough, too much, not enough, or just right?
I think it's in that mix. If you look at the carries, it's kind of on a trajectory of, Jonathan Taylor, kind of in the same amount of carries per game type of thing. Now, touches are different. I would like to see him get a little bit more involved in the pass game. I think he can catch. I think lining him out as a receiver, motioning him in, getting your 2 speedster running backs on the football field at the same time with that type of token package. I think it opens up the defense, opens up the offense a little bit more with Raheem Mostert out there in the backfield and putting in motion Jeanty and doing some screens and trickeries and getting the defense just to think with some wrinkles, man. I think it goes a long way. And I would like to see him being utilized more in the pass game. But he's young. He's a rookie. He's still trying to get in the saddle. But I think he's ready to go. Any coaching staff that's kind of like, hey, we want to gauge him and let him loose. That dude's a monster. He's a rare breed. His stature is built like a bowling ball, like a Maurice Jones-Drew. They are meant to be fed. They are not meant to be looked at in a museum. So, and I don't think that's what they're doing. But yeah, as a running back, you always want to see it go through the run game. But right now, hey, listen, if there's no holes to run through, every running back runs the same, folks. The only running back I know that ran with no holes is Barry Sanders. Everybody else, we all run the same way and know where to run, folks.
Did you ever have a number in your head when you were playing, like, man, if I can get to the 8 carry mark, that's when I really start to feel good. My legs are under. Did you ever have that?
20. You get 20 it's just something happened. Look, in the consistency is, folks, it's not just about the running back when in the run game. That's who gets the glory, right? But your center, your tackles, right? Your guards, when the run game is consistent, they get to put their art and their hands on people artfully themselves, right? Like, we forget about the offensive linemen and what they want. The offensive linemen, they prefer running the ball. You know why? Because when they have to set hut and actually sit back and have these 300-pound, overtly phenom athletes coming at them, flying all kind of different ways, and they got to stand in front, they rather just put their hands on somebody and push, so it affects everybody. And so I think not only does a run game help the running back, the stats, the control of the game, the tempo of the game, it also allows your offensive line to kind of lean on somebody, which is actually, it saves them in the long run.
I'm curious what you saw out of the defense on Sunday. Obviously, they were good in the first half. Now, they did give up a 17-play drive that lasted over 10 minutes, but they took the ball away in the end zone, right? So you take that as a win every single day. But it really felt like the fundamentals went out the door in the second half. A lot of missed tackles. They couldn't get off the field on third down. And it was a lot of third and manageable for the Jaguars. What do you think changed? Or is that more to what you were speaking of with the run game leaning on defense and fatigue kind of set in? How did you see it?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I see it with the fatigue part. I mean, if you look at the stats, Geno Smith outperformed Lawrence. That's how I see it. Sacks, very similar. Team stats, we dominated there. But when you look at the run game, significantly, Jacksonville dominated. And that allowed them to stay in the game. And, if you start to look at teams across the NFL, the guys, there's a 70% chance if you win the run column, you win the whole entire game. Like, I just folks take a glimpse real quick back to, and I don't want to get off topic here, but look at the Bengals versus Chicago. It was very close still, folks, but you know who won? You know why they won? Chicago Bears won because they dominated the run game. They outrushed them 237 yards. So that gave them 10 extra minutes of possession and control of the game. And then when you control that much of the game, the other team airs it out and they got some amazing players. But the point I'm trying to get to is when you can control the clock, you can control the tempo. You control the game. And so that run game is what kept Jacksonville right there in control, where we kept on having to make amazing plays because we have amazing players that could have done it the other day. I mean, folks, Brock Bowers was making some crazy plays. Geno Smith was throwing it on the money. It was we had to play great to put ourselves in that position because Jacksonville was controlling the run game. So point is, control the run, you control the game.
You said amazing plays. How many one-handed catches were in your career like that Brock Bowers one? How incredible was that?
I've had a few, but never contested in a situation like that. Not that I'm willing to compare or show, but those catches are. What are you supposed to do as a defender? To trying to defend that kind of a catch, you just go back and say, "Hey, you pat him on the butt. Hey, good catch, bro. I don't know what else I could do." Walker, you get paid too.
Before we bounce out of this game in Jacksonville, I do want to get your reaction because I thought it was very telling of just kind of the frustration a little bit that's existing amongst the Raiders right now. Pete Carroll, in his post-game interview immediately after the game, sits there and says, we miss an extra point. They kick a field goal at the end, and he sits there and goes, how long was it? 68. Is that a record? Yeah, that's a record. And he's like, geez, you just feel for the guys in the room. The longest kick in NFL history happened on this day in Las Vegas against us in this game in which we miss an extra point that could have been the difference. And you could just feel the frustration permeating from the podium. I'm curious, when Cam Little is lining up for that 68-yarder, you're like, no way. Even if he hit that 70 in the preseason, you're still saying, no, not today, not here, not against the silver and black.
Nah, not that way. That's not how it's supposed to happen. I mean, and good for him. He has a leg, and it is not little at all. The dude can kick, but you don't want to see it happen in that situation. But that's what I'm saying. Again, these games are always coming down to the minor minutia details, folks, like the placement, where the ball was, breaking history records to win the game by 1 point, the 2-point conversion. I mean, we can look at that for 15 minutes and try to dissect what coulda, shoulda, and really, I think the biggest thing in the NFL, because players will make plays all day, the main thing you can do is control the simplicity. That is, a player in front of you, put your hands on him, block him, get through the hole, find an ugly 3-4 yards, right? That is where the game is won and lost. Amazing plays on both sides will happen. Somebody catches one-handers. You get 3 touchdowns by a tight end. Crazy. You got a record broken by a kicker. Crazy. All that's crazy. Where did we lose? In the simple details. The run game. Hat on hat, man on man, win your one-on-one battles. That's where the games are won and losses, outside of making amazing plays. And obviously the kick is one of them.
This is the pregame presented by Twitch, and so let's preview the game that will be Thursday night, Week 10 for the Raiders. Jakobi Meyers gets traded at the NFL trade deadline. He heads, coincidentally, to Jacksonville for a pair of draft picks, a 4th and a 6th in 2026. So the question begs, who is going to get that immediate spike? Who is the guy that is going to reap the rewards? I'm not talking about 2 weeks from now. I'm not talking about a month from now or even next year. I'm talking about this Thursday. Where does that production go that leaves with Jakobi and enters for a new player? Who is that player or players for you, Rashad?
Well, I think, again, for me, I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if we start seeing a little bit of mix of Raheem Mostert coming in just because of different packages where you're having 2 running backs on the field. Obviously, Tucker's continued to do his thing, and I'm getting more impressed by him. But silently, don't forget, folks. Let me just take you back to a little bit of history of who Tyler Lockett is. You got to remember he's on the team now. Tyler Lockett's played with Geno Smith. They played a lot of football. He's a veteran. He's savvy. I actually expect him to step up a little bit more and get more opportunities. And Geno Smith and him have a chemistry to where he's going to place the ball in a perfect spot because he knows where he's going to be at because they've been doing it forever. They're veterans. They're savvy. I expect him to step up and get some more opportunities. But with my youngsters, I'm I'm still trying to figure out what Besh is. I think he's a special player, and I want to see him get some more opportunities. But those are some of the names that I think we will see. And then don't forget about the dual tight end threat. I think we have that, and bringing out Michael Myers, I think he'll get an opportunity too, and a lot of 22 type personnel.
Yeah, so Brock Bowers gets 13 targets with Jakobi in tow. You figure you just double it up, right? I mean, there's some fans sitting there saying, hey, every other play, Jeanty, Bowers, Jeanty, Bowers, Jeanty. Like, let's just keep it working, Rashad. And sometimes you got to lean on your stars. We'll see if the Raiders do that. They will need to do that because it is a tall test in the Mile High City. The Denver Broncos are the top team in the AFC West right now, and they are finding ways to win despite it may not looking pretty for 4 full quarters. But at the end of the day, they are finding ways to win. What is impressing you most about this Denver Bronco team?
Their defense is playing really well. They're heavy-handed. They make you hard to beat. On the offensive side of the ball, they aren't as efficient as you would think they could be with the talent they have over there. They got a plethora of receivers that are all kind of very similar. If you look at it, I don't think it's size, height, weight, and they all play very similar. So I feel like Bo Nix is one of the top quarterbacks in his class for sure. I'll put Drake May as the top in their class. But Bo Nix is playing very well. He's consistent with the ball. He's stingy with the ball. And they leaning on the defensive special team play and making you have to go the long haul. And they found a way to win in the fourth quarter. And that's what teams do. You know, you look at Kansas City Chiefs the year that they won every single game, pretty much by 1 or 2 points. You know, you looking now at Denver, they won by 1 or 2 points. And it's the W in the W column you're looking for. And it always comes down to trying to stop. Denver's good at stopping the what? They stop the run. That gives them that chance and that minutia I'm talking about. So if you want to make highlight plays, if you have to make highlight plays all the time to win games, you know, you find yourself like the Cowboys too. So you got to win in the trenches. You got to win the ugly way. And that's what we're capable of doing with the Raiders. And that's what I think we have to start seeing a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's fair sensing a theme here. Run the ball, stop the run. Run the ball, stop the run. That's the Rashad Jennings special right there. I think that's a T-shirt. I think we just got in the T-shirt business. Rashad, it is a short week, and I think fans don't fully understand and appreciate. You talk about using the word minutia, the amount of work that goes in for a work week to get guys ready mentally, physically, game planning, scheming, coaches, everything in a normal week. But with these Thursday night games, and everybody's got them, can you kind of lift the veil and explain the difficulty and really how many obstacles are in the way as you're stacking days on top of each other, in theory, trying to get ready for this game, especially being the road team, as the Raiders are?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to go on the road, one. And it's also difficult to turn over and do it on a Thursday, 2. And number 3 is it's even harder after you're coming off a tough loss. So you got so many components going on, folks. You got a tough loss at home, overtime. Then you have to go on the road in the division and then play a really good team. So a lot of coaching, what we do in the week on a Monday, you kind of recap, watch some of the film, flush out what happened Sunday, rehab Tuesday, day off, do what you need to do, get your mental back. And then you got Wednesday through Saturday for prep. Sunday play again. Now that it's Sunday played again, you come in, sometimes you don't even watch, depending on the coach, you might not even watch last week's film, right? You forget about it, on to the next. But there's so much to learn in that film. And so usually on Thursday night games, what do you see and who succeeds the most? The veterans at the quarterback position and the young youth that care the most about the game of football. I'm telling you, folks, the youth who cares about the game and the veterans at the quarterback position, that combination are the most successful teams every Thursday because you have to recover. So what I expect here is leaning heavily on Geno Smith and a lot of Jeanty this week. I think we're going to see a lot of him. I think we're going to see a lot of Brock too. Why? Because they are the youth of that team and compare it with the quarterback. Now on the other side, same thing. Denver, what are they going to lean on? They have to lean on the quarterback. Who is it? Their youth. And who are their youngsters? I'm not exactly sure. So I think, honestly, folks, going into a Thursday night game away, there's a lot to deal with, but I'm excited for this matchup in this way because you got to lean more on the veteran savvy players and the youth. And I think we got the advantage there, believe it or not.
And based on the quirk in the schedule, Geno talked about this week how when he was getting ready for his film study with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know, he would take breaks and he would also start looking at a little bit of film of the Denver Broncos just so that it was in the back of his head so that he could be ready that once that game was over on Sunday, it was full on to Denver, and he already had a little bit of a head start considering the condensed schedule. So little tricks of the trade from a veteran there. Did you have any tricks that you learned over the years that helped you deal with these Thursday night games over the years when you were playing?
Oh yeah, I treated every week like it was a Thursday night game, folks. So that way I was fresh on Sundays. I did everything I possibly could. I was one of those guys. I slept in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. I ate gluten and dairy free before people even ever heard of what a gluten or dairy free was. I was doing everything organic. I had MAT chiropractor massages twice a week, all this stuff going on. And so that way, come Thursday, I was already fresh waiting for Sundays. So my advantage, Why I played 8 years in the league? Yeah, I could play. Yes, I could run the football. Yeah, I could protect. I really put my stamp on that. But one of the things that I was able to do better than all the other players around me consistently was be prepared. I was always fresh as I possibly could be where other people was getting wore down. And I think that's a curve and that's an advantage. And a lot of players don't really understand that. But anybody I get my hands on, train, be around for a time period, I always teach them how to take care of their body. And it's a cliche thing, just like controlling the run game is a cliche thing, goes in one ear and out the other. But I was one of the guys that understood taking care of your body is no joke. And I'm a professional at it. So that was the advantage. And I still carry that today.
Were you doing the avocado toast before it was popular too?
Yeah, I was doing avocado toast before it came to Cali. You know, I might have introduced it to them with the egg whites on top and it all.
What are the challenges? Do we make too much of it playing in Denver, Mile High City, 5,280 feet above sea level? How real is that? What was your experiences playing in Denver?
It's tough. It's tough to play at Denver, especially if you're a first timer, right? Like you're in the division. So, you know, as a Raider, you know, obviously going there once a year, you at least go there once every year. And so if you're part of the organization, you kind of get used to it, acclimated. But it's a real thing, folks. Oxygen. You need it. You know, try to do anything without it. And if you're not in good shape, it beats you up come third quarter, halftime. You finding yourself trying to you just said y'all ever have that cotton mouth and you really can't get that quench. That's what happens. So you have to prepare, especially flying over. You got to drink tons of liquids, salts, you know, electric lights to get your body ready because, folks, I can't tell you how important it is to go try to do anything without the right equipment. I dare you. Go try to. I'm going to say this, leave it alone. But as far as construction, because I'm doing a lot of construction, I think back to when they had hand saws. And I'm like, yo, shout out to them because if I didn't have this chop saw and all this stuff, ain't nowhere in the world I'm doing all that. They were using regular nails and hammers, and I got a nail gun. I'm like, shout out to them. But how much more can we do because we have the right tools today? So the same thing as an athlete. I don't care how much skill you got if you ain't got the right tools and if your body ain't available and if your brain ain't sending signals properly to your body. And so dehydration is a big thing, folks. Don't get me started.
All right. Well, we've already started on the T-shirt business because we got another one. Oxygen, try and do something without it. I've written that down. That is going to be submission number 1. I feel like that's a bestseller. Hey, you're a businessman. You got your hands in a lot of different things. I think that's another one we need to just look into. We'll close things out here on the pregame presented by Twitch on this. You talked about running the game. You talked about stopping the run. The front seven for the Denver Broncos is as formidable as any. Their pressures are off the charts. Their sack totals are off the charts. The talent is there. When we talk about the challenge that is at the feet of the Las Vegas Raiders, who is it that you feel needs to be him on Thursday? And I understand it's never about one guy. I truly do understand that. But you need guys to make plays. Geno Smith has said it for the last couple of weeks. Guys need to make plays. And we've seen Brock make plays, and the wins are still not there. Who needs to be him to make those plays, to get a result on the road, and complete what would be a massive upset to the masses?
Our center, Jordan Meredith. I think he got a lot on his load. This defense is going to throw the wildest wrinkles. They're going to shift. They're going to move. They're not going to hold still. It's going to be hard to account for the 4-down lineman and who the mic is. Getting that call is not easy. And there was a couple plays against the Jacksonville Jaguars where I actually saw Geno and Jordan kind of not on the same page, where we call this guy the mic, then Geno will change it to this, And so all of those guys got a full duty job. And there's a lot of pressure on that center to get who the mic call is, make sure everybody's going in the right direction. So he does his job. I think it sets the tempo for the rest of the team, which I think he will. then it puts the pressure on my guy. I want to see my rookie take off. If there's another opportunity outside of a statement game that he made earlier in the weeks, it's got to be this one. I mean, you want to put your sink your teeth in and say, hey, listen, this is who I am. This is where I stand, and we got to give him an opportunity. Just give him a crease. Let him do what he do. Give him a screen. Dump it out. Don't be afraid to check it down. Like there's been times I'll leave you with this. I watched Christian McCaffrey because I was at the game physically against the Giants and the 49ers. And I'm watching this guy, and he's like a visual ASMR. It's like watching that vacuum just clean that thing perfect. I'm like, yo, this dude, they run the whole system through him. It is so crazy to witness live, folks. Wherever he's at, that's where the game is. They put the ball in his hand all day, every day. And it's a system that they're running. They don't care which running back is actually in. It could be Robinson in. And he's getting the same calls. And a lot of players that have to do this, and I'll leave you this, Vince. A lot of teams will say, okay, which running back is in? Okay. Is it Ollie Gordon? Huh? Or is it Devon Achane? Okay, let's call different plays, right? Is it Derrick Henry? Or is it Justice Hill? Okay, let's call different plays. No. Here's what we're doing. Here's how we playing. Whoever's in is running the plays. And I think that's what we got to get to and see some more of that. And it starts this week.
It's Chip Kelly versus Vance Joseph. It's Sean Payton versus Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll. It is the Raiders on the road in Denver for a battle with the Broncos, the top team in the AFC West. Thursday night, the world will be watching, as will we. Thank you so much for watching the pregame presented by Twitch. For Rashad Jennings, I'm Vince Sapienza. Make sure you check out all of our podcasts, both past and the future, on Raiders.com, on the Raiders YouTube page, and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Enjoy the game, Raider Nation. We will be back next week to get you ready on the pregame.